You can make all kinds of parameters and qualifiers and categories for the GOAT in our world, but I think Roman's just up there for, simply put, the GOAT for what he's done over the course of 800 and something days, leading the charge as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion.
WrestleMania goes Hollywood April 1st and 2nd. I'm Robin Lundberg, and I'm joined now by the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who's set to take on Roman Reigns from SoFi. I know you're in New York right now, Raw and BK. You guys are at MSG on March 12th. But first, I want to ask you about the Super Bowl, because Patrick Mahomes is sporting a WWE title in the locker room. What does that say for the magnitude of your business, that's the first thing he does after winning the Super Bowl?
I think the thing I loved about it is how he held it. He held it with a real pride and a sense of, like, this is such a cool thing to have. And there's all this discussion about I like the older retro championships, the titles, but the biggest argument for why these new ones are so dang cool is just the fact that to see that WWE logo and to see it with an athlete of his caliber and having won the biggest game of his life, this is just really, as someone who's been involved with wrestling since I was a little kid and always defended it and loved it and tried to educate people on it being what my family does. It's one of those moments that just makes you feel good to be in the business. And again, congratulations to the Chiefs and the Eagles. What a great season we got. Really, what a great season we got.
You've been in the industry, obviously, your whole life, really. I know that they've got the biography of Dusty Rhodes, your father, coming up March 26th on A&E. Last week on Raw, Paul Heyman's in the ring, cutting the promo on you, bringing up your dad. It was a great segment, but do any of those words, do you feel them a certain type of way?
I think the intention of Mr. Heyman to get under the skin and we start the psychological warfare heading into Mania. I, as much as he dropped the mic on telling me that Roman was the son my father wanted, my dad did help train Roman. The thing that he said that meant the most to me was he said, this isn't about your dad. It's not about your brother. It's about you. And whether he meant for that to stick with me or not, it did. And especially as we head to Mania, I've got to be able to do this. Roman Reigns he's been in the main event before. He's been under those lights. And I've been using the national championship for college football as an example. I can't be a TCU in this setting. I can't dwindle. I can't let my talents not shine. And I've got to make it to the main event. And to Mr. Heyman's point, it is about me. And hopefully on that night, me is enough.
At the same time as what you've got going on, and the poster is fire, by the way. I love it for WrestleMania. There's the thing with Sami Zayn and the bloodline and heading up in the Elimination Chamber. Do you think Sami Zayn has what it takes to be a headliner in the business?
Well, I think Sami Zayn is a headliner. I think traditional constructs and all those things, noise and numbers, you can never deny in the sports entertainment, the pro wrestling space. And Sami has been off the charts. I think we're heading into a situation with the Elimination Chamber where if Sami is able to leave his hometown with the championship, I'm more than happy to replace Roman's face on that fire graphic that's out there. And that's the nature of the sport and of the entertainment and the art that we offer, is things can change. So, but I really look forward to the moment of getting in there with Sami myself, whether that be competing or whether that just be a moment between two of us in the ring, just because I know that'll be special.
Speaking of the art and speaking of the bloodline, do you think that story is Emmy worthy? Should WWE be getting some awards?
Michael Cole is the one who dropped the Emmy term. Not only do I think Michael Cole is correct in that sense that it is Emmy worthy, there has been some amazing stories throughout history. I'm able to be telling one right now that I keep saying I need to finish the story. My journey started 7 years before I was born, with my dad wrestling in the Garden for the big one and not being able to get it, and me heading into WrestleMania with an opportunity to fight for that championship. So there is a lot of stories that I actually would share that sentiment Michael Cole had with in the history of what we do. But I'm just glad it's something that's being discussed.
You mentioned discussions, a lot of GOAT discussions in sports right now. Jordan, LeBron, Mahomes, Brady. I know, and I've seen you talk about Roman Reigns. Where do you think he stacks up in that GOAT conversation right now?
I consider him the LeBron of this generation. And when I say, you know, everyone always harkens back to MJ, it's the same with sports entertainment where you get the Hogans and you get the Rocks and the Steve Austins and the Ric Flairs. But if you really look at what Roman has been doing for 3 years, he is a Bruno Sammartino level player, and he has made the opportunity to dethrone him the biggest thing since somebody trying to end the streak at WrestleMania. And I think he's definitely in discussion for the flat out GOAT, for the GOAT. You can make all kinds of parameters and qualifiers and categories for the GOAT in our world, but I think Roman's just up there for, simply put, the GOAT for what he's done over the course of 800 and something days, leading the charge as the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion.
As of right now, it's Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania going Hollywood April 1st and 2nd. I say as of right now because you mentioned Sami Zayn, but it's safe,
could be Sami Zayn.
Safe to say WrestleMania is going to be just fine without The Rock.
You know, I said the other day, I said, and I said it in a pretty nice way, but I said, hey, all respect to The Rock, I like what we have. But I'm gonna walk that one back. And I'm gonna say WrestleMania is amazing. If Rock decides to come to WrestleMania, please, simply because we're able to have WrestleMania because of someone like The Rock. And Rock was able to have WrestleMania because of somebody like Hogan and because of the Dustys and the Flairs and the Pipers. Our industry doesn't just exist. The content is so important in keeping it healthy and keeping it going and respecting these longtime fans. So I hope I didn't talk out of turn there, because I absolutely adore The Rock and would love it if he was present in any setting. His family is massively important to what we do. And if Rock decides to show up at WrestleMania, Hollywood would love that. I will say, if Rock doesn't come to WrestleMania, we have an unbelievable card, if not the best ever, at the biggest ever in terms of the financials and the gates, 2 days in Hollywood. So it's a win-win.
I don't think anybody will be able to argue with that. Cody, really appreciate the time.